My name is Sarah Ayton. I'm probably most famous as one of the three blondes in a boat. I'm winning my first Olympic gold in Athens at the front of a boat called a Yingling, and then 4 years later at the back of the boat in Beijing. Well, I come from a non-sailing background. My parents don't sail at all. My dad gets a little bit nervous around boats. My mum can't swim, but they were really keen for my brother and I to have a hobby. So we literally tried loads of different sports, and then at the age of 6, had a go at sailing, just at our local reservoir, Queen Mary Sailing Club. And as I say, had a go and absolutely loved it. Winning our first Olympic gold in Athens was, as you'd expect, an amazing experience. 24 at the time, and was at the front of the boat with Shirley Robertson and Sarah Webb in the Yingling. And the three blondes were, well, born, I suppose, in the media. And it was a really funny event, in the sense that everything we did in the I was sailing the boat for 2 years, was geared towards the Olympic Games. And I think in my mind, I thought that winning that gold would be, the final race, and that moment would have been, I don't know, different to what it was, because as it was, we won the Olympic gold in 10 races. It's an 11 race series. So we crossed the finish line and looked at our coach, and he's like, "You've won." And I, in my mind, had no idea that it was even possible to have won the gold when we did. But when we crossed the line, that moment was, extremely special. Yeah, so winning in Beijing was, again, an amazing, a brilliant, amazing experience. It was really important to us in Beijing that we dominated our fleet. After winning in Athens, the Olympic gold was the only sort of big event we won. And then for me, moving to the back of the boat, steering now, I wanted to do a lot more than that. I wanted to really dominate the fleet, to win a World Championships. I'd never won a Worlds before. And so everything about this programme was actually much more than about winning an Olympic gold. And that was a really special experience with the team, myself, Pippa and Sarah, and our coach Paul. I think we put a campaign together that we're all really proud of, in terms of, we won 2 World Championships, European Championships. We were ranked #1 in the world. And we went out to Beijing and delivered another solid performance, winning gold. So stood on the podium the second time was, as the helm, much more a feeling of relief, because ultimately you are the one steering the boat. But also a sense of, we put a great campaign together, and I think, showed that actually it's not just about a helm and a crew. If you're a really united team, then you can achieve something exceptional. So really proud of that one. Yeah, so I had a big transition after 2008. I seem to have this in my career, that the boats are always taken out of the Olympics after an Olympic Games. So the Yingling was no longer. And then I actually had my 2 children, Thomas and Oscar. And motherhood is much harder than Olympic sailing, if I can say that. And then I had an opportunity to go extreme 40 sailing. Wildly different. First of all, it's a catamaran. It's short course racing, stadium style, 11 races a day, and very male dominated. So it was a massive change, but one opportunity that I really took hold of and loved the challenge. So my first experience with the extremes was in Singapore. It was a training camp before the season would start, and rocked up, and we went out, and the boys were sort of pull this, pull that. I had kind of like no idea. Just even trying to stand up on the trampoline was hard enough. And then sending me down to leeward while we're up on one hole to load the winch, it's just, a really exhilarating, scary kind of moment. But I tell you, the worst feeling was probably the morning after. What muscles I hadn't used for years were really aching, and then having to get back on the boat and do it all over again. But yeah, hugely exhilarating, fun, a real different experience. But I think my biggest learning point there, and I think is a good one, is to really know your strengths as a sailor. So what you're really good at and really back yourself. So when I stepped in that environment, that actually, as a female sailor in that male-dominated environment, I knew actually that I could still be the best fifth crew member in the extreme fleet. I think my scariest moment in the extremes was the thought of capsizing. Thankfully, Lee McMillan on the helm, you know, he's gold and like really a safe skipper. So, and the whole team, actually, the boat was always in control. But I think the crashes, you know, there were some epic crashes. So we had a couple of incidents where, you know, it got a bit hairy. But the most important thing Lee said to me was just stay safe. So if it looks like it's going wrong, then get out of the way. And that was good advice, especially in Singapore, our first event, where we had a bit of a port starboard big crash. But thankfully, yeah, managed to get out of the way. But yeah, it's a real adrenaline junkie kind of sailing. I think probably the hard mentally to deal with was a training camp in Malaga and Athens, actually. Those two stand out because it was snowing. And you know, freezing cold, and you're dropped at the side of the Yingling. It's not a nice place to be.